Assalamu alaikum, family. Peace be unto you. Welcome to the Sajda channel. You're tuned into the Sajda Morning Coffee Talk, and I'm your host, Sajda Wendy Muhammad. So be a friend, tell a friend, let them know that we're live, and we're just going to talk about a little life, love, and business this morning, live from Houston, Texas. See you all in a few.
O Allah, guide me among those whom Thou hast guided aright, and preserve me among those whom Thou hast preserved, and befriend me among those whom Thou hast befriended. Bless me in whatsoever Thou dost grant me, and deliver me from the evil of what Thou hast judged. Surely Thou judgest, and none can judge against Thee, and he whom Thou befriendest is not disgraced. Blessed art Thou, O Lord, and exalted be Thee above what they set up besides Thee. I bear witness, nothing deserves to be served besides Thee, and I bear witness that Muhammad is Thy servant and apostle. Amen.
I have received so many pleasures, so many very good to look at, whether you own them or not. It's a pleasure just to look at such presents. Why, I have never witnessed so many presents. I think I have to build me a house for presents. This shows what Allah can do for you and me if we believe in Him.
There is nothing that we could not accomplish in the name of God. You know what your problem is? You don't have even a worthy goal to strive after. I'm going to give you an assignment today. Here's an assignment. Is there something you want? Do you want something? Something that you want, but you have not been able to get it? Huh? Close your eyes. Do you see it? Whatever it is that you want, first envision it. You got the picture. Do you see it? All right, now the question is, you have to claim what you see. I claim this. I claim it. I believe with all my heart in the name of God that I'll bring what is in my imagination into reality. We're going to bring it back like it never was. I see in the dome the name Allah written in Arabic. But I can't just dream. I got to go to work. How do you bring it into concrete reality? First, without faith, you can't work the vision.
Assalamu alaikum, family. Welcome to the Sajda Morning Coffee Talk, where we talk about life, love, and business. Welcome, 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 everyone. I'm sipping on some good old chamomile tea today. Man, there's so much that's going on. You know, when we think about everything that's just happening out here, no matter where you're from, and I was thinking about it and actually praying on it this morning. And I said, you know, this is really an old world going out. And I think we all in some way see that. But I think what worries us is, what is the new world coming in? What's going to be our new reality? What's the new situation? And I think that this is an opportunity for us right now at this time to be able to shed that old mind, that old school, antiquated way of doing things, and bring in a new mind, something new, something fresh, and focus on that and take a chance at seeing if we can create or recreate our own reality. That's important. I think just thinking about, okay, we can recreate our own reality, because we talk about America's falling, the fall of America, and the dollar's falling, but we don't think about our emotional dependency on the way America exists today. We don't think about our economic dependency on it. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad has tried to separate our economics from this system, but in a lot of ways, it's been very difficult and almost impossible to untether ourselves. And so as it's starting to dismantle, whether it's the doing away of a program or getting rid of what we thought was the ideal of living here in this part of the world, and just the thought of somebody saying, like myself, like, hey, we have to become global citizens, is hard for a lot of people, because you have some people are veterans and they've been kind of brainwashed against anything that's anti-American, which oftentimes means anything that's anti-white. And so, you know, in part of that brainwashing, you have to take on the mind of the oppressor and almost think that you're them, and then treat other people like them, so that you know there's no information. You don't get, most people who are in the military, they go and invade a country, they don't know what they're there for, they don't know what's going on, they don't know why they're doing it. It's just a programming. And then there's those of us who have been taught and told certain things, right? Because the entire educational system, even pop culture, has been designed to erase everything that is challenging or bad about America, And they're saying, listen, y'all, nobody except for what we choose, white American history is going to be a part of history. Anything outside of that is celebrated within a certain period of time, like Black History Month or Native American Indian Month or whatever they call it, Women's History Month, whatever it is, it's going to be celebrated in this little short period of time. And then we're going to tell you what to celebrate. And you better not celebrate or talk about anything that makes us feel uncomfortable about what we did. So when you're battling all of that, and I know a lot of people don't like to talk about it because we really have been conditioned to dislike history, but history is the greatest teacher. So it teaches the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. It helps you to recognize patterns. It helps you to become prophetic. It helps you to make predictions. Why do you think that there's so much data being collected? The data is being collected because that historical data is useful, helps to create AI, helps to build models, helps them know how to go to war, how to diagnose, how to attack someone. So that is how important history is. But we've been taught that history is not that important. So when you create this whole cocktail, there's this schizophrenic mindset that is this world that we live in that is crumbling. And a lot of our stresses are connected to our emotional attachment to that crumbling world. It's tough. I know. It's really tough. I started to really have a sense of this emotional attachment really working in healthcare. We would have patients that would come through, and because a Black person gave them a diagnosis, sometimes people wouldn't believe it. And this was true for Black and white people. And then they'd leave and go from this doctor to that doctor, to that doctor. Sometimes they'd come back amputated because I was working in vascular surgery. Sometimes they come back and their condition is so far gone that we couldn't treat them minimally invasively. But when they came 6 months ago, we could have helped them out, but they just couldn't get it. It wasn't that they really wanted to seek another opinion. They didn't want it from Black people. And what does that have to do with the dismantling of a system? Well, we have a saying in the Black community, you know, the white man's ice is colder. And this is in no way, and I don't, even in saying this, it feels systemic, but I'm going to say it. This is in no way disparaging someone that is locked into the system, whether they're Black or white or whatever. We're all a part of it. But what I'm challenging us to do, especially in this book that you see behind me, the part of the cover you see behind me, I'm challenging us to come up with creative solutions to some of the problems that have stagnated us as a society, and many of the problems that are going to make us circle the drain with the fall of America. So I'm challenging us. I personally am specifically challenging us as Black people, but the book is not restricted to, you don't have to just be Black. You can be Asian, you can be whatever, because it's all about taking the teachings that the Messiah gave us and incorporating them into the world of business so that we begin to create different business models, because those old business models that we've been relying on no longer work. Okay? Let me know if that makes sense to you all. A lot of the stress that we feel, a lot of the resistance that I get, sometimes even from business people, is their emotional attachment to the way that they've been taught and educated, and they're emotionally attached to it. And so I'm even challenging us to think of our education as a tool, as a system that can propel us to learn more, push us to go farther, and develop new answers to old problems. Right? We have to push back on this mindset. We're very, very psychotic here in America because we have this illusion of freedom, and we do have a lot of freedoms that don't exist in other countries. Don't get me wrong, but there's this illusionary concept. It's a PR campaign, a marketing thing that defines what this world that we live in is, which is here in the wilderness of North America. And many of us are so emotionally attached that we can't see that it's okay to tweak the system. It's okay to do something different. So what I'm challenging us to do is to first do that in our minds. Let's start to see things differently. Let's start to look at one another differently. Let's start to handle things differently. Let's start to support one another differently, because that system that we have made a God out of, that we have put above our family, our friends, it's going down. And things are moving so rapidly. Let me tell you this, that I think that those of us that are still caught in a time warp are going to be in such a devastating position in a few short days that it's going to add even more pain to all of us. Because there's I could go into this systemically, but I'll stay on the positive side. The positive side is that we have to change our mindset. We have to change how we see things. We have to change how we do things. Things change so rapidly overnight. You could be up today and down tomorrow. So the vicissitudes of this society falling and rising and falling cannot impact you right here. You got to make sure that you're supporting others, sowing into the universe what needs to be sowed into it, so that when the tide comes your way, there's somebody there to support and save you. And I know it's hard for us to realize, because a lot of us see ourselves through the mindset of a white supremacist. And when you see yourself like that, you think that you're untouchable, just like they've always thought that they're untouchable. And I don't know why I'm talking about this today, but it just came to me that the need to change is rapid. I think probably because yesterday I was so blessed. I spoke to 2 schools, and we were able to address the babies and talk to them about some key principles, trying to direct them towards a power greater than themselves. And then getting them to begin to think about business, the art and science of business, so that, and I prayed over them, because my prayer for them is and continues to be that as they navigate this world, and by the time they get our age, money will be no object for them. And so this thing that money is difficult and it's hard can go away. And you know how that goes away? Believe it or not, it goes away through taking what I call the actions of faith. See, money is used in this society to make you and I think that God doesn't exist. So many of us that have money think that we don't have to be faithful. Those that don't have money think that people that have money are not faithful. And so there are people who make money their God, and they don't even know it. Some people will outright say it, but we're breeding an entire generation of children again, because we were all bred like that thinks that replaces God with money. And money is just a tool. It's just a tool that goes and comes, and it's of no value unless it's moving. Think about that. You can exponentially increase the value of money if it's moving. If it's sitting there, you either will lose or you'll earn a small, very fixed amount. This is why people say, I'm into investing, I'm into stock. That's creating movement with whatever money that you have. And the movement, there's a rate attached to the movement of the money. But money has been used in this society to make us think that God doesn't exist. And how is that done with downtrodden people or marginalized people like us? Because it's very difficult for people to have faith and the type of faith that they need to have in order to make a difference in their life if they say, well, that very tool that I need to be free, I don't have it. And so you get this kind of weird relationship with money. So we talk to the children about that. Talk to the children about money psychology. And we talk to the children about how to fixate their mindset so that they can begin to have a better relationship with money, even in the face of being raised oftentimes by parents who don't have a good relationship with money. I didn't say this to them, but I call that manifesting in the face of controversy. And so we had some conversations about that. And I have an exercise that I do where I get them to thinking about the type of business that they would open. Because a lot of times people don't think about that. I ask that because I remember one time my father asked me that question. And it's a question I never forgot. And it was real simple. I don't even think he intended it. We were, I'm from Omaha, Nebraska. We were down in an area called the Old Market. If you know Omaha, you know the Old Market. And there was a store my mom used to shop at called Nouveau Eve. I think that's what it's called. Nouvelle Eve or Nouveau Eve, something like that. And she was in there like trying out some stuff. And I just remember my father and I sitting there, we waiting on her. I think my brother was there too. I'm pretty sure he was. But I was just looking around the store and I think we were just having a conversation. And he asked me, he said, if you had this store, what would you do? Oh, I know what it was. The lady was sitting there and there was no customers in there. And I think I asked, what does she do if there's no customers? And he said he doesn't know that if he would open a business where he had to sit there and wait for customers to come in. And then I remember saying, well, how do you get the customers to come in? And I don't know if he answered me, but I do know that he asked me a question and he said, if you had this store, what would you do? And that sparked something in me. And I remember looking around that store and thinking about what I would do. I probably answered it in the best way that I could at the time. But I remember looking around the store, wondering what I would do. It's interesting because even to this day, when I pass that space, I just remember I remember every detail of that space because I remember that conversation and I remember my mindset at the time. So it was a very powerful dialogue. And so I incorporate that in my workshops with children. You know, if you were opening a business today, what would you do? And what would it be? And there are some sessions that we go into it a little bit deeper. And then as I'm watching how they construct their mindset, I'm working to guide them towards a more spiritual form of entrepreneurship. And so we had that conversation about how to fold our faith into business. And one of the ways that I talk a lot about in the book that we do that is through the art of it. Art not necessarily meaning drawing or painting, but art meaning that space between our intellectual capacity and our goal. There's a little space right there. Because if you already knew how to do it, you would just do it. And it would be done. Oftentimes as business people, we're very arrogant. I was talking to a guy yesterday, day before I left, day before yesterday, who is a financial advisor. And I was just listening to his conversation. It was very arrogant, very system driven, very much like, this is what I do. This is how I do it. This is who I am. This is this process and this is that process. And I just was looking at him and I said, but didn't you just tell me that you want to make a certain amount of money, you want to manage a certain amount of assets, but you haven't been able to master that? And he said, yeah, but he kept repeating these talking points that he probably used in, that he probably learned from his sponsor or, the company he's with, like Edward Jones or something like that. And we were just sitting there talking, and I just thought, the business world, which is really the mind of the white racist capitalists that kidnapped and murdered us and brought us here and took everything from us, is very arrogant, because what they've done is they've created these systems and they've brainwashed everyone into believing that it is the true science. They created this system and they brainwashed everybody into believing that if you don't do these certain things and you don't know these certain things and you don't blah, 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 then you can't make money in business. And I think with the onset of the internet, we've learned, right, that that's not true. We've seen all kinds of people defy odds and become industry disruptors and change the game. But when we learn these systems and we think that this is the only way, we have a problem. And it's the arrogance oftentimes for us as business people, because we're just stuck on, this is how you do it and this is what it's going to be. But there's a gap between what you know and what you're doing and the results you're getting and where you want to go. Right? So if you say, I want to manage at least $1 million in assets, but you're only managing 50,000, then there's a gap, right? There's a $950,000 gap between where you are now at your $50,000 asset managed base to $1 million. There's a gap there. How do you close that gap? That is what we talk about in this book. You close it and with certain systems and processes and things that have to be recognized. And you really can't close that gap until you understand and respect history. And now people don't want to hear that. They like, what? I'm not talking about, you got to know about Frederick Douglass in order to make money. I'm talking about the history of your industry. Data, 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 data. What is the data used for? Historical data is gathered to understand events, to understand trends, to understand patterns. See, you can't recognize if you are not even in a position to obtain that $1 million portfolio unless you understand history. Because otherwise, you're going to just keep going on the treadmill because you got this attachment to a system that somebody's already given you. I hope this is making sense. But that gap is only closed through accessing a power and forces greater than yourself. See, because yourself might be caught in a time warp. Your knowledge might be 20 years old. Your knowledge might be so limited that it's going to land you in jail. So you got to stretch. And you got to have faith in something that is greater than yourself. And you would know that if you respected history. But because you and I have been taught to disrespect history, we don't even respect data. We don't know what the data is. We don't know what has led up to certain historical events because we don't think it matters. We don't think it's important. And this is how people also rip us off. They'll charge us for stuff that can't even be done, that maybe has never been done. Maybe they shouldn't be charging you for that. They'll trick you because they know you don't know no better. They may say, oh, you may say, go to Walgreens and get me 7 mangoes. Well, if you don't have the data to know that they don't sell mangoes in Walgreens, then you're going to pay that person to go buy you mangoes in Walgreens, and they ain't got no mangoes in Walgreens. And they may take your money and come back and say, they didn't have them. Or they may take your money and say, we tried, but we couldn't do it. That's a simple thing to get, but teaching our children that at a very, very early age, which is some of what we introduced yesterday at the 2 schools that I went to, is very, very, very important. So getting them to understand and respect history is just like saying, understand data. All right, I see y'all in the chat saying stuff. Let me see what's there. Let me know if you have any questions about this. If you all get this, am I being too esoteric? But we have to understand how colonialized processes have impacted how we think and restricted our ability to participate in the activities of life itself. Okay, I see you, Brother Lamont. I see you in the house. He says, Walaikum salam, good morning, and happy Saturday, everyone. I see dress code in the building. Walaikum salam, all praises due to Allah. Absolutely, it certainly is. Regional Sky Girl, what say you? She says, ASA, I pray that everyone is well. I'm so sorry that I will not be able to fly to Houston today. What? I'm close yet so far. God willing, I will have a big hug for you next time, Sister Sajda. Oh, man, I was looking forward to seeing you, Sister Sky Girl. That's Mom. She says, Grand Rising, everyone. Yeah, that's right, dress code. A new way of life. That is exactly right. I see the Universal School of Boxing. Welcome, welcome, says that's right. Our only righteousness will sustain us. Yeah. Mm-hmm. As a quote here of Matthew 6:33. Thank you. Yes, Brother Lamont said it's crystal clear. Get the copy of the book. How many people in the chat got the book already? The Art and Science of Business. You just go to that link right there, artandscienceofbusiness.com, or you can go straight to Amazon. If you go to artandscienceofbusiness.com, it gives you an opportunity to join my mailing list. So you get updates when we got things going on. If you're like, I don't want to do that, I just want the book, you can go straight to Amazon. But the artandscienceofbusiness.com will give you a link and it'll click you and take you there so you can buy it. But you can get it on Amazon, get it on Prime. You'll get it tomorrow. But go out there, grab the book. Brother Lamont said he got his. Okay, praise be to Allah. Regional Sky Girl, you got yours. Universal School of Boxing, you got yours yet? Dress Code, did you get your book? Who else we got up here? Let me know if you got your book. I know Mom got hers, and she's been reading. Let me know if you got your book or not. Dress Code says Dress Code has hers. She said, I have mine. She got the check mark. I like that, sis. Let me put that up there. She said, I got mine. Let's see. Who else responded? Regional Sky Girl said, no, ma'am. I thought I was going to get it today in Houston. Okay. Yes, ma'am. I understand. Now you got to order it from Amazon. So while you're flying from place to place, you can read a page or two here and there, or even when you get to the hotel. Okay. Thank you. No problem. That is okay. Mom says, enjoying reading. Thank you. Thank you. All right. I was talking to somebody the other day and they said, I thought I was just going to speed through this book. And then she said, I had to go get my glasses and get my notebook. And I told her, I said, that's the same thing my mom said. She's like, I'm studying this. So I'm grateful. I like to say that book came from the universe. That definitely was not me. That was ancestral intervention. Dr. Jackie Mayfield said to me the other day, he said, I think you might be one of the ancestors. I said, well, we all one of the ancestors. They working with all of us. Listen, that's what it is around here. So, y'all, that's all I got today. I want to really challenge us on coming up with a new way of thinking and working our way through detachment from an existing system that we see dismantling right before our very eyes. And it's okay to check in and see what's going on, but don't nurse on this stuff. Nurse on a new way of thinking. Nurse on the word of God. Nurse on a power that's higher than yourself so that you will receive inspiration and downloads on how to move and what your next move needs to be. You don't want to be in a situation where you're so brainwashed because you've just been watching all this stuff on television and online all day, and then they're able to drop those subtle suggestions into your mind, and next thing you know, you're making moves that didn't come from you. They came from a suggestion from folks studying you historically. The way to step out of that matrix, the way to unplug, is to tap into a power greater than yourself. All right, family. So, yesterday we had Sister Margaret on, and we moved the Reader's Theater play to November 1st and 2nd. And so we're working on updating the promo right now. So you'll see that. And so we are so excited about this play. Sister Margaret is such a wonderful, wonderful soul. And it was so great to talk to her yesterday on the show. If you missed it, go back and check it out. Sister Margaret is one of our Muhammad University of Islam babies, and she has done so well and is making all of us so proud. We're just so grateful for her. Okay, family. Then I gotta go. Yesterday I had my days mixed up. I don't know why yesterday I thought it was Saturday. I told y'all the janaza for Mother Evelyn was yesterday, but it is actually today. It's at 11 a.m. You can tune in at noi.org and pay your respects to Mother Evelyn Muhammad, our beloved sister and example of just a really elegant and beautiful, serene. She had that kind of quiet, strong strength. And we're certainly going to miss her presence. All right. Thank you. Regional Sky Girl said that was an amazing show yesterday. You know what? Another thing you can do too to just kind of give your central nervous system a break is tune into a little comedy. Be careful with these shows and movies and stuff like that. There's a lot of programming out here. And what I notice is that because things are so stressful, they're really programming people sexually. And to the point where they got it down to a pack that you don't even have to go out and do the act that they're showing you. They just creating the dopamine in your mind. And I believe that there are people and producers and writers that are paid to do this. I shall not name them, but I do believe that. So be careful with that. Nurse on some knowledge and things that are bigger and greater than yourself. Get the art and science of business and read and study that. And stay tuned. Join the mailing list. We got some things going on. Get the book. And we will update the promo for the play, so you all will get more information on that coming up soon. And we've got some other things that we're working on. We got some more in-person appearances coming up that we'll let you guys know about as soon as we solidify them and get them planned out and organized. All right, family. Okay, well, peace and blessings. Love you all. Remember, it's not vibrational. It is personal. Stay tuned. We may do a little live or something later from the event if we're able to do that and show you a few things. Okay, peace and blessings, family. Love you all very much. See you soon.
The Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who in my judgment is the master historian, taught us that of all our studies, history is the most attractive, and it is best qualified to reward the researcher. History is most attractive. Why should history be most attractive? Because history is the recorded time of the human family in its struggle to overcome obstacles. There is no life that is without struggle. The Holy Quran teaches us that man, meaning man and woman, is made to face difficulties. And after difficulty comes ease. But it is history that guides us through difficulty. For if you know how people who had difficulty yesterday got through, and if your difficulty is somewhat similar, then today we also can get through if we follow the guidance of history. This is why Carter G. Woodson and many of our black giants fought for black people to know our history. Because in not knowing our history, we don't have a guide. And without a guide, we are lost. No wonder the Bible